have fun. Business people, lots of ideas. You need some advice, come right here. Dreams with leaders is here.
There's the plan again. There it is. Hi, Sky. How are you?
Hey, I didn't know you could see me.
Barely. I was like, what's that? Who's that? What's going on? Happy Tuesday. Can you believe it's already Tuesday again?
Happy Tuesday. The weeks are flying by.
And it feels like fall outside, so I'm getting really excited. I hope that we just slide into fall.
Is it gonna? It has to get hot again. So, but yeah, if this is the weather, I mean, I'd cry. It'd be amazing.
Listen, it doesn't have to do anything because it's 2020. I saw today, there's a couple hurricanes that we're dealing with. This is the first time in 120 years 2 hurricanes have been around America at the same time. So don't count on anything in 2020 is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I've usually we all want to be enjoying the moment, but I feel like our culture is just trying to get by and like go to 2021. So it's very interesting.
You know what's one thing we can count on?
You go ahead.
Networking.
Yeah, that's right.
You can always count on having good networking skills will get you to 2021. It'll make good for a good 2020. I'm playing this video one more time. This is going to be the last week we're going to play it. But our courses are still out there. People are still getting them. And you're going to want to get one if you haven't got one yet because everybody's going to outpace you at this rate. It's a pretty popular course. So let's play the video real quick.
Hey, it's Erin.
And Scott.
We got some big news. We've got a brand new course dropping
today.
Right down here. I'm going to put the link right here in the comments. I'm so excited about it. We're covering some really awesome networking things, tips on networking. So I'm going to tell you what we're covering. I'm using my cheat sheet. Setting up your LinkedIn profile. What content works on LinkedIn? Building online relationships.
Setting up events and how to attract people to those events. What you actually do when you go to the events, and then taking your online relationships and building relationships offline.
So if you need to know anything and everything there is about networking, you need to go find this course today.
It's our dating app. It's pretty much like today. Wait, how do I do this? Today.
I think Grant Gooding pointed out it looked like eHarmony. So
I know that was nice.
If people are signing up, so I mean it's working.
All right, let's get to the good stuff while everybody comes. First, I want to tell everybody, please let us know you are here. We want to say hello to you. We want to network with you. Let us know if you are watching the live or the replay because we're still trying to play with the time and make sure this is a time. It was a perfect time right in the midst of COVID, so we want to make sure it still works. And start asking your questions now because we have a pretty incredible panel today. So should we go ladies first? You got your music queued up?
Ready to go.
All right. First on, the one, the only. Apparently she's been everything, but currently an amazing attorney, Miss Sheila Seck.
Hey, everybody. Love the day video.
Hello, Sheila.
Hello. Thanks for having me on today.
We're excited that you are here. All right. Next, but certainly not least, I feel a little intimidated because he way knows this TV and voice radio game better than us, Mr. Kendall Gammon.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, we had to bring a little life to the party, and who has a party without Mr. Steve Larson?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
And last, but certainly not least, the one, the only, Mr. Chase Coffman.
What a great group. Hey, thanks for having me.
Man, Erin, I can tell you got a lot of energy. That hard.
It's what I went to Reiki with Alex. She always watches our show. So now I'm like ready.
And then you and Sheila are helping small businesses out. So before I ask the first question, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, you want to talk about it, Sheila?
Yeah. Lily and James Creative, headed by Erin Falk, has put this great pitch contest together. It's going to be LinkedIn Live, and you can win lots of great prizes, free legal services, free CPA, some good healthcare, self-care at City Gym, and a lot of other great prizes.
Over $30,000.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
So if you are a business, I'll put that link in here that you guys can register. Registration is over tomorrow. But then if you're just somebody that wants to watch and vote, it's actually public vote is how you win. Just hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll send you the invitation on LinkedIn for the link. All right, let's get to the really good stuff.
As a reminder, we're like anchorman, so anything you comment, we will probably read live. So I love the comments that are already coming in. Sheila, the old elevator pitch, you've done it thousands of times, but how did you find your way to Kansas City, and what does your business organization do today?
Yeah, so I found myself coming to Kansas City right after college, and I've been here forever because Kansas City is such a great place to live and raise your family. And I have a law firm named Seck and Associates, and we work with a lot of tech startups, business, raising capital, all the things that business owners need. And we are so lucky to be really busy during all the coronavirus world.
And then also you'll help people sell their business. So you'll help them grow it, protect it, and you'll help them sell it.
Yes, we will. So if you have a company and you're ready to exit, you can call us and we're happy to talk you through that and how that looks.
So Chase, I remember you because you were a celebrity when I was playing football. And I think you were even so good, you'd even play in like the All-Star game. But after your career, I've never met anyone that was so thoughtful and intentional about how they network. So kind of give everyone an idea of your background and then how you got to where you are today in your business.
Yeah, so I grew up around Kansas City in Peculiar, Missouri, went to Ray Peck High School, then got the opportunity to play football at Mizzou and a few years in the NFL with a couple different teams. I got fired a lot through those teams and opportunities. And as I was transitioning and figuring out what I like and don't like and what is next, finances was something that was important to me in learning for my own well-being. And as I dove deeper into that, kind of realized that there's a huge opportunity for a lot of people. And it's such a touchy subject for so many. And that's something that I felt that, again, could help me and my family, my friends, and a lot of people as I continue to kind of rediscover Kansas City and getting into it in business rather than just in sports. And so I joined a company that was small, that was something, again, that I liked with my own experiences, called BMG Advisors here in Kansas City on the Plaza. And it's been a whirlwind since then. Last year in the market, you could kind of do no wrong. And now this year it's been pretty crazy. And who knows where we're going forward.
Two questions. One, what were the teams you played for? And two, you do such a great job of following up and touching base with people and looking to help. Who gave you that advice, or how did you come to be? Because early on in someone's career, because you had a professional career, you don't really learn that. You just seem to learn that right away. So teams you played on and kind of how you got the advice to connect with people.
Yeah. So, I was able to get the opportunity again to be drafted in the third round by the Cincinnati Bengals. I spent time with Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Tennessee, Seattle, and Indianapolis over an 8-year stretch. And like I said, I got cut a lot. I was 12 times got cut, but kept doing enough to get opportunities. And then for the second question, man, again, just such a blessing to have two parents that taught me kind of all the underlying values of hard work, character, morals, and of course my faith in Jesus Christ has been the big thing that is consistent. And I think that in financial advising and in your guys' businesses as well, I mean, the way that you treat people and respect people and be open to listening, so you can understand their experiences, where they've been and where they want to go, really opens the doors to making sure that you aren't that pushy salesman or whatever it is in your business that people cringe when they hear, right? And that's the last thing that I want to be, and because I've had it done to me.
There you go. So Steve, I apologize for placing you in between two NFL players.
Yeah.
Because I want you to tell me a Little League story. But before you do that, I tell everyone about you, and I call it the Scottroe effect. Scottroe is a banker that's since moved down to Texas. But I tell people there's this guy named Steve Larson. You're not going to know why you want to do business with him, but you're just going to. He just has that effect where he makes everyone happy. And so how the hell did you get to Kansas City, and what do you do today?
Well, when I finished playing second base in fifth grade, moved on to academics and then, on to college. So Kansas City, my wife and I met in college. We've been married now for 17 years. So we moved 6 times in 12 years for work before landing in Kansas City in 2011. And we were excited to get to KC. Neither of us had been here before, but it was kind of the northernmost part of the southern region of the company I worked for. So we both went to the University of Iowa. So we've got family. I'm a Chicagoland native, and Ann grew up in the Quad Cities, and her family's in Des Moines. So we moved a bunch before getting here, and we've just loved the city. I mean, everything about it's just been, fantastic. So I started down a new path in January of this year, taking over as the president of Bash & Co. Sotheby's International Realty here in Kansas City with Andy Bash. And after multiple years of trying to bring the brand to Kansas City, they found the perfect partner in Andy. And now we've got an iconic global brand that we're looking forward to continuing to introduce all over Kansas City. So we love it here. I don't think we're leaving, man. So we're embracing the Chiefs. As a Bears fan, it's a lot easier to get excited about the Chiefs than the Bears. So, we'll see what 2020 brings.
And so
Look at all this.
Yeah, he's a big deal. And so, Steve, with a personal question, and if your wife's not watching, if maybe you don't need to sugarcoat it, but is your wife your best friend? I mean, it sounds like you guys have really, when you move all the time, it's kind of like yourself and each other in the foxhole together. So how's that been moving to a new town each time?
I'll tell you this: we spent 30 days in a residence in San Antonio in the summer with 2 kids under 3, a cat, and 2 Great Danes. If your marriage can survive that,
True.
You are destined to make it through anything. So Ann's great. Love her to death. She keeps us all grounded and moving forward. So yeah, it's been, I got lucky to find her.
That's awesome.
He's now, I'm totally losing out on what would otherwise.
Yeah. Hey, it's recorded.
Scott, thank you for asking me that question. And I tried to hit a home run with it.
Softball.
I think you did.
You dig it.
So I met Kendall about 4 or 5 years ago, and I went home that Thanksgiving, and I told everyone that I know Kendall Gammon and that we talk to each other. And Kendall's like folklore in our family. He went to Pittsburgh State University and played on the Chiefs. And my dad would always point him out on TV and be like, "There's a Pittsburgh State alumni." What I didn't tell my family that Thanksgiving was like we said like 3 words to each other, but I pretended that like we knew each other really well. And so since then, Kendall's become a good friend and an iconic person in Kansas City that everyone knows. So unfortunately, you're the most well-known person on the show today, Kendall. So hopefully we're not bringing you down. Hopefully we're bringing you up. But give us the background. And I know you're super modest and humble, but kind of give us your background of where you grew up and then how your career got to where it is today in Kansas City.
Well, I appreciate it, Scott, and thanks for having me on. I grew up right around Wichita, Kansas, in Rose Hill, and small town kid, loved it there, somewhat Mulvane as well. I went to Pittsburgh State University, played football there, and was fortunate enough to be on a national championship team in '91. And then I was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 11th round, 291st person taken. So right away, feeling very good about myself. And did anybody get that? I guess not.
Yeah. Well, no. Say it again. It's because it's called. Is it called Mr.? What's the name for the last draft pick?
Oh, I was not I felt like Mr. Irrelevant, although I was not. I was close, though. Yes. But I was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. That instantly became very confusing because I went from Pittsburgh without the H to Pittsburgh with the H. So basically, I was either in Kansas where I was in Pennsylvania. I was never in Pittsburgh. But 4 years with the Steelers, and enjoyed quite a bit of success there. And then I was cut after training camp in my 5th year, and ended up in New Orleans the next day, and spent 4 years in New Orleans, which I say were my character building years. And then fortunate enough that I became a free agent, and then Kansas City wanted to sign me, and I spent my last 7 years of my career with the Kansas City Chiefs. I retired in 06, took 07 off a little bit, and then in 08, I came on and had a 12-year stint with the Chiefs Radio Network. My last game, I won't be on this year, but my last game that I did was actually the Super Bowl this year. So I played in the Super Bowl, and I broadcast the Super Bowl, and lost the one that I played in, won the one that I broadcast, and I much rather enjoy the winning more than the losing, for sure. And then I'm also the special assistant to the president at Pittsburgh State University, my alma mater. So I help raise funds for facilities and scholarships, and speak on their behalf, which is really what my love is being able to get on stage and make a difference with people in whatever way makes sense for them. And I try to, really open myself up in a way. I think you've said it before. I open myself up in a way that I think most people wouldn't expect from maybe a 15-year NFL veteran. And it's pretty vulnerable at times because, as you've heard before, I tell everything, and nothing's off limits. And that's not always the most enticing thing, but I think it gives people permission to understand that everybody's human, that they've got a chance to do some good things in their life. So that's how I got to Kansas City, and this has just been a great place for me.
So 2 questions. One's going to be about your speaking and your consulting practice, but the first one is, I think, really interesting. So my dad said, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But I think you invented laces out. You were the first person ever to be able to snap a ball so that it was laces out for the kicker to kick it, which is now standard. So were you the first person to do that? And how was that even possible?
Well, I'm not sure how it was possible learning to snap the ball with the laces out. I always say it was a sad, lonely childhood to take that much time to learn how to do it. But I don't know if I was the first or not, but I was one of the first. But when I got to the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a little South African kicker by the name of Gary Anderson, just a great dude. He's roughly about this tall. And
is he a Hall of Famer, right?
He is not. That's Morton Anderson.
Got it.
Morton is the Great Dane is a Hall of Famer, but Gary played 18 years, I think, so he did pretty good as well. And I remember him coming up after practice once and saying, "Could you learn how to snap the ball so with the lace, I've got it right here, so the laces are facing out each and every time so I can kick it and the ball's not spinning or I don't kick the laces." Ray Finkel, laces out, Dan, all that stuff going on with Ace Ventura. And it was really an odd request to me because I'd never thought about it, but I started working on it, and it took me 3 or 4 days of a lot of practice to really start honing my skills in, and it's something that he really appreciated. And that's one of my taglines always is laces out. What can you do for somebody else to help them be successful? It's really my whole mantra of give your game ball, make a difference in somebody's life in whatever way, shape, and form you can. And for me, other than the guys on the team and maybe the kicker himself and the punter, nobody knew that I was doing that. And now I've got you to announce it, thank goodness, after the career. But, oftentimes that's what happens in life is you're doing things under the radar that people just don't recognize and understand. But the people who depend on you and that it's important to, if they recognize and they understand it, then that's really all that matters.
And then one question, then I'm going to ask Sheila about a recent win for her company and organization. But Kendall, for you, who are your favorite companies or organizations to speak to? And then who are your favorite companies to consult for?
Oh, wow. Well, I do something for Watco companies, which is based out of Pittsburgh, Kansas, the largest privately owned short line railroad in America. And they operate in, I think, 3 different continents or nations. But I really like working with them because their mantra is customer first, safety always. I mean, it's always about the customer, and it's always about their worker, their employees. Actually, if you say, or I said employees, their team members, I'd get in trouble if I did that, because they look at everybody as an equal, and they really mean it. I mean, they bring me in from outside to speak at different training sessions that they have, to really work on the mental side of the team member, and not just at work, but personally on their own, and then family wise as well. And I just think that's something to really to be proud of, to be a part of. And when you see a company like that, and you've got to be focused on the bottom line. There's no doubt about that. But when you care about the people who are part of your team that are making the engine go and helping do everything, that servant leadership, rising from below and leading from below, left and right. I mean, to me, that's been, the best thing that I could be involved with. I've just loved it.
Okay. So Sheila, now that I'm thinking about the question, I'm like, man, Sheila would throw a killer party at her place right off the plaza. What a view to wake up to every day. But so post-COVID, after you hosting the happy hour for all of us, what is a recent win or success to give the audience an idea about what you and your company does so well?
Yeah, so I would say we've had some clients who, they're young tech companies, and they have just been, some of them have been around for a couple years, but they are just in the right place at the right time. They have the right technology. They're raising capital on both coasts. And to see some of these really get a launch and like mentors and support, from these private equity firms in New York and California is great. And it's just awesome to see them get that attention in Kansas City. And we've been able to help them through those capital raises and kind of get to the next, as they level up their business, because there's a lot of change once you bring on that kind of money. So it's been really great to see that in this awful time when people are really struggling, some people are really, moving their businesses forward.
Whoa, I just...
Harry Campbell, you're in.
I saw it too.
Looks like Scott froze, so I'll take over for him. But I really like the face that he froze on, just for the record.
Too.
I could take it down, but I just feel like this is karma. So, Chase, what is a good win that you have had during COVID? I've heard you speak a couple of times, and you always seem to look on the bright side of stuff. So what's a win you've had during COVID?
Yeah, I try. So something that has been really beneficial for our group BMG is that we got involved with the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University and SmartVestor Pro situation kind of right before the whole COVID deal hit. And as people have had more time, they've looked into something that's important, their finances. And there's been a lot of opportunity for us through that. And as you guys may know, may or may not know, in the financial advising business, it's a lot of the times a pretty long cycle for bringing clients on. And so a lot of the time, I used to be playing a game every weekend and know whether I won or lost. And now it's the cycle of, maybe years before somebody brings their money over to our group. And a lot of the wins that I look for now are just, the connections that I'm making and how am I able to provide value, whether it is with financial advising, maybe that's down the road, but how can I help you guys out for the time being? And that's really what I've been looking at. Like you said, trying to find the positives in everything.
Yeah, no, you always seem so positive. I just message him to get positivity in my life. Speaking of, we've only met a couple times, but both times you haven't quit smiling. So what are some of the wins you've had, Steve?
For us, I think Kendall made that comment about, servant leadership. So when I look at it, we had no idea what residential real estate was going to look like when this started. And I think there was a lot of, panic and concern for clients, for ourselves, for our team. But over the course of this, we have added some truly incredible people to our team. So, Wendy's on here, her and her team have joined us, and Catherine and Sarah and Kayla and Shannon. And it was just great to bring in, dynamic individuals that really had different perspectives, different approaches. We're very unique in a sense that we truly can kind of do this collaboratively, based on the size that we are. So we are really trying to do more with, the right people than, do a lot with a lot of people. And they've been phenomenal. It's been so great. Andy's been, pushing the business forward. And, but I think if you, for sure for us, it's, you can never surround yourself with enough great people. I mean, period, in line. No matter what you do, if you value anything more than the people you have, then I think you are potentially misguided in, what you're looking at, because none of us are going to do this by ourselves, but we are all going to do it, together with other people. And they've just been fantastic. I love them all. They've been great. And we're looking forward to what the future has in store.
Welcome back, Scott.
Chase, did you answer the question about a recent
We did a
win?
whole thing.
Yeah.
Chase,
Yeah,
we
great.
talked how nice he is. We did a whole thing.
Harry
I'm
Campbell
gonna say
popped on, and it
twice.
just freaked me. He just had the
See, it worked twice.
yeah. He just popped on. So I have a new computer right over there that my company shipped to me. I had technology problems in 2020, so I got to get a new computer.
There
Yeah.
was a picture of you on here for a
Darn
while.
it, Casey. So one
great.
question I by the way, yeah, when is has Casey been on the show yet? Is my mind blanking on me?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Casey, and I don't know if Harry has, but Sheila, one thing I was going to ask you, and I think Steve was touching on it, and I know none of us want to claim credit for hiring good people, because hiring, I think, is the hardest thing to do. And I've never done it well, and I just think it's really hard. You've done a really good job hiring, and I know not every story is a success, but for you personally, what has been kind of the common thread to your success for hiring great people?
We take a lot of time before we make a decision. Let me put a plug, is we are still looking for attorneys. If anyone, corporate attorneys are on this call, we would love to talk with you. I think just taking a long time to, that kind of cliche, take a long time to hire. And, we do culture testing and, several rounds of interviews, and, it has to be a fit for both sides. And of course, once they get there, we try, and we had a long meeting about this today. How do we make it a great place for people to stay, even remotely? And probably everyone on this call is dealing with that.
And training people is incredibly hard. And so Aaron's going to give a plug about everyone asking questions, because our second half of the show will kick off here shortly. So please make sure you get your questions in. Steve, their last two roles for you, you've had to do a lot of hiring. How has that worked for you in terms of how you do your best to make sure it's a successful hire?
I think Sheila made the comment, that it's got to be a fit for both. And I think that's totally right, because as much as we may think someone is a phenomenal fit for us, if they don't feel the same way, then it's really, not going to work out.
Right.
And I think you've got to find that balance of what people, what they're trying to achieve. You've got expectations of what you hope they bring, to your organization. But I think you need to understand what it is that they're trying to achieve. What are their priorities? Work-life balance, family, challenges in, other areas. Where can you help them grow? How are we going to make them better? What do we offer that is going to get them over the hump in an area that may be a challenge to them? So I think it always comes back to, both shoes have to fit totally. So, and we all don't hit home runs. I mean, you can do a ton of due diligence and, follow processes, and some of them you look back on and you're like, I can't believe that this individual didn't end up being, the next senior leader of an organization. But I think you've got to just take that as it comes and be humbled by it, and try to figure out, okay, well, why didn't it work? And, what can we do better on our end? But
Aaron, can I ask one quick question before you dive in? So Chase and Kendall, I don't know if I've ever asked this question in a public forum before, but how do you avoid knowing when people are just trying to meet with you for your celebrity, or if they actually really want to do business? Because sometimes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
so
hear
you
you.
didn't want to ask me that question? I'm
Oh, no. Well, Aaron,
Apparently
maybe.
you don't have that issue.
Yeah,
Great.
Harry, don't ask a question because you're going to kick me off the internet. So, but Chase and Kendall, for you, how do you decide how to pursue things, or do you just have that first meeting? You don't have a second one. So, Kendall, you go first, and Chase go second. How do you avoid people meeting with you just to talk, sports? And how do you figure out whether they really want to work with you on the business side?
Well, Scott, that's a great question. I think when you've played at this level, and Chase, I don't know if he'll back me up or not, but you understand that people sometimes, I mean, it's a neat deal to them, and I understand that it would have been for me at certain times as well. So I always appreciate, number one, the fact that they would want to meet with me, even if it's just for that. And even if it is, to me, why not take the time to get to know them and see if there's something you can discern that makes sense and allows you both to help each other. And at the very least, give them a great positive, I guess, going away in terms of, okay, that was a pro athlete who wasn't full of himself, wasn't this, wasn't that. And really just take it for what it is. I mean, ultimately, what you focus on is what you're going to feel, and how you decide to look at what's going on that meeting. I mean, if you there's been times, certainly, Scott, when I've discerned that, they just want to talk, and it's not really going to amount to anything, but you never know if it's maybe going to amount to something in the future. I know for me, having played 15 years and then being out of the league for 12, really I was behind the times because I didn't have any internships. I didn't have anything. Fortunately, what I found out was that I took care of my relationships during my career, because those doors were still open for me, and thankfully they've remained open even after my career ended. So that's a long answer to a short question, but that's me.
Chase, for you, I mean, you're handling such a sensitive subject where you're really working with someone's whole portfolio, not just their wealth, but their holistic goal of how to get to retirement. How do you figure out when people are just trying to meet with you because you played at such a high level and they want to meet you because you're a celebrity to them? How do you figure out how to do that?
I kind of want to piggyback off what Kendall said and a little bit of what I said earlier. I think you got cut out of that part, but I mean, I want to be able to provide value to people. So especially at first, it's like, you know what, let's have a call, let's have a Zoom, let's grab coffee if the world is letting us do that right now. And I just want to hear you out, right? And see if there's a way that I can provide value. And sports was such a huge part of my life, taught me so many things, positive things, gave me a great head start. And you know what? It's an opportunity that not a lot of people got to do, and I still enjoy it a lot. And you know what? Just like Kendall said, maybe it's like, you know what? Hey, I sat down with Chase and I've talked a lot of people's ear off, and I was kind of an a-hole to him, but you know what? He still sat there and listened to me, and now something's come up where, you know what? He genuinely cares, right? And I don't ever want to come off as an a-hole because I know how that feels. I went to camps as a little kid and was around some professional athletes, and for the most part, there's a lot of great guys, just like Kendall, just like hopefully people that you have all been around, and there's also some guys that don't do it the right way because of whatever experience or situation that they're going through in the moment. But I understand that now, that just like in football, you kind of have to, what have you done for me lately? And that's the mindset that I continue to go into this job with, to go into my family life with, my friends, the current relationships that I have is, you know, I'm not going to dwell on what I did in the past, because until the day that I die, I'm going to have to keep learning. I'm going to have to keep showing you that I do care, that I am doing my job right, because especially in finances, you have one big slip up and that can knock away everything that you've worked towards. And as you guys probably know, is in your relationships too.
So Steve, when you were 12 years old and you were worried about like, hey, that guy just second base, he's So, okay. No, I won't ask that question. So, Aaron, thank you for letting me ask so many questions and go over on time. I want to hear your questions.
Well, first of all, I need people to start. A lot of people have messaged me that this group was coming on, and now they're being all shy and not doing that. So I need to start asking your questions so I can start asking. But first of all, also let us know if you're an MU or a KU fan, just for fun. Maybe we'll do that for fun too. Just trying to get Chase to smile there.
Yeah. I'm going to tell Steve. So I am like a professional real estate looker. Like I'm a huge Bash fan, and I always love, you have great listings, and I follow you guys on Instagram, and I'm kind of a stalker.
Yes. There are so many people that, even though they're not really interested in buying, are always looking.
Yeah.
And I'll say, this industry is really kind of fun and interesting because you're going into people's homes and you're seeing, different sides of a lot of different situations. But, my wife's a big home design and decor person. So she told me this is the first job I've had in all the time that she's known me, that she is interested to hear what happens on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you keep looking. If you're not finding what you're looking for, we'll help you track that down.
I can trade out my condo. So anyway,
so Sheila,
good luck with all growing the company and doing so well in Kansas City. Sorry, Aaron.
No, you're fine. So Sheila and I actually met because Sheila, you're very supportive of women-owned businesses and entrepreneurs, which is where I fit into, right? You have really drilled down where a lot of attorneys haven't into newer entrepreneurial businesses. A lot of attorneys stay away from that. Can you kind of explain why your decision was to go so hard into that area?
Probably because that's what I just love to do. We all gravitate to what makes us the happiest when we're entrepreneurs. And I just love working with startups and helping them get launched and, navigate all the things that they address as things change in their businesses, which they always do. Somebody hates their partner, somebody has a great opportunity, it can be a million things. It's just really fun. And so I love it every day.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that you're in it. So
yeah.
Okay, I have no idea what this question means, but I'm going to put
it up. It's a really good question, and Kendall can explain why it's a good question.
Yeah, Kendall started smiling when he read it. So
I know, I can tell that it was coming.
Good story.
Steve, I was like Pavlov's dog. I actually started really a little bit off. We hit the tuning fork. You got to remember, I used to weigh 310 as opposed to 250 right now, so I can't eat. My favorite Southeast Kansas chicken. That's a big deal in Southeast Kansas, this chicken. I have no idea why, but I know one of the first meals I ever had when I came down to Pittsburgh State to play football, we were lucky enough to be taken to Chicken Annie's, and I've always had an affinity for Chicken Annie's. Now, I'm not afraid to go to Bardo's and Mary's and some of those places, but Chicken Annie's has always been the one that's done it for me. So great question for sure.
Yes, thank you.
An important one to know.
Yeah.
Hey, if you come up like this means your privacy is on. That's why we can't see you. So just in case you're asking questions, sometimes that's why. All right, Steve. How long have you've been in Kansas City since 2011? So why don't you talk to, because there's a lot of people that watch this show that are brand new to the city. Mm-hmm. What was the most effective way for you to meet people and start networking? And how did you grow? Because you seem to know everybody now. So how did you grow that space?
Good question.
So for me, honestly, I'm always open to meet just about anyone. I'm somebody that goes into every conversation trying to understand, what's going to be interesting in this. How am I potentially going to be able to help this person? Or maybe I can't, but somebody I know, can. Kansas City, I just, everybody will talk about the Midwest and how friendly and great people are. And I think that's totally true. The city's been fantastic to us. I think everybody here's got, great roots. I love the fact of how much KC loves KC. Everybody that's here wants nothing but everyone else that's here to be wildly successful. So
I agree.
Everybody's just been so open and great and gracious to make an introduction. I met Scott randomly through 3 different people, and that's been fantastic. But I think people just have to be willing to get out of their comfort zone, have a conversation, meet somebody, and how do you help them? And if you come from that perspective, then nothing but, positive things are going to happen.
Met Scott through 3 people. That doesn't sound random at all. I feel like Scott knows everybody, right?
It's like 6 degrees of bacon, but it's 6 degrees of havens. Like you can connect anyone you know to Scott within like six moves.
You guys are all too good looking. If you're chubby, you'll be more approachable. And then people will be like, well, that guy's not selling anything.
I'm hanging the computer from the ceiling to keep all the chins away. So I'm just sitting myself on camera.
Okay, this is a great question. Chase, we'll start with you and then go to you, Kendall. And I happen to know that Delvon is a athlete. I'm going to mess this all up, but he does those deep tissue massages for athletes after they're done playing. So Chase and Kendall, a lot of people think that the transition from professional sports to normal life after retirement or whatever the case may be is tough to get used to. How tough was that to transition to in your life? Let's start with you, Chase, and then we'll go to you, Kendall.
Yeah, so sports was something that was kind of everything that I knew up to that point. I was able to get my degree and have the plan B, the backup. But I think that every year and every off season, my goal was 100% to make the team that I was on. And I felt like any time that I was taken away from that and my wife, that I was going to be out sooner than I wanted to be. And so luckily, I was able to do a good job of budgeting while I was in the NFL and saving and creating a good buffer for myself so that when I was out of the NFL, I could make sure that I knew, okay, let me take my time, find out, meet with people. What do I like? What interests me? And what are the opportunities that I have? And go from there. And I spent almost 2 years volunteering at my old high school as a football and basketball coach, just to keep myself busy, while also meeting with people kind of throughout the community of Kansas City that I thought had 3 things and did them well, that they were successful in their faith, successful in their family, and successful in their businesses, and kind of what they liked about those businesses, how they got there. And I figured that I had to get into something to know if I liked it or not, and really thought that it was the thing that could take me to retirement. And I know that a lot of people jump job to job these days, but I've always, and I feel like athletes may be in the same boat, but have been pretty loyal and want to make sure that I give everything a fair shot. I know there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of tough times, and you got to go through those to get to some of the good times. And this was something that I really felt like was one of those things that I could take all the way till the end. And yeah, it's tough and it's a leap of faith, but I think something that my mom always told myself, I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and we were all able to get Division I scholarships to play in college, is that your sport is not who you are. It's just what you do. It's going to change.
But she didn't have to pay for college. So
yeah, that was a blessing. but again, your sport is not who you are. It's just what you do. And so again, back to our faith and Jesus Christ, like that's the only thing in our lives that is going to be unchanging.
Kendall, I want to ask you the same question, but I do want to throw up Delvon's website because I so messed up what he does for a living. So highimpactsportsmassage.com. Sorry, I totally butchered that. But essentially, here's the question again. How tough was it to transition after professional sports?
Yeah, there's no doubt. The one thing that Chase said there at the end is something that I've tried to live throughout my career, which is the same thing. Football's not who I am. It's what I do. And that being said, while you're playing, it's ever consuming, as he mentioned. for me, I played until I was 38 years old. I was still running down the tunnel before the guys, getting up on an ice machine, hiding and jumping on people as they came by. I mean, I wasn't exactly living a normal life until I was 38. I mentioned it, or alluded to it a little bit earlier, in the fact that, when you're in the NFL a long time, I played for 15 years. Well, then you're behind in the business world when you get out because you don't have any internships for the most part. Now, for me, I wanted to be in the media in some way, some shape, some form. I wasn't sure what. I've been writing, I've been speaking some. I actually, on Tuesdays, which was our day off with the Chiefs, I would go into 8:10 and I would intern with Stephen St. John and Jason Whitlock at 5:30 a.m. on my day off. And, they had fun with me for a while. I was getting coffee and stuff like that. And, I didn't care. I just wanted a chance to be around. And then all of a sudden, I started coming on for 15 minutes and then an hour. And then by the next year, I had my own show. And the rest of my career, I had my own show. And then it got simulcast on Metro Sports at the time. So I was trying to prepare. And that's what I've always said. The NFL is the best temporary job you could ever have. I've always said that. And I always said that you're ready in the seat that you're in. And eventually the shield takes over and it's not going to be you, it's the shield. And you're going to finally be gone. So for me, the minute I got into the NFL, I was trying to figure out a way to get out, even though I didn't want it to end soon. But I think you can understand what I mean. And I guess I was just fortunate that I was able, after 15 years, to take a year off and figure out. Pittsburgh State University came to me. They wanted me to work in the development side of Pittsburgh State, which is my alma mater, to go Gorillas. And, that's one of the things I do right now is I'm the special assistant to the president for Pittsburgh State. And that's something to me is like mission work because it's my alma mater. I love it, but I'm able to raise what's been really a healthy amount of funds to help not only sports, but just the city in general. So between that, my 12 years on the Chiefs Radio Network were special, and then that's helped launch me into my speaking, which is just what I really love. And I know what I already talked about that earlier, but I think the best thing you can do in life is be a difference maker to somebody else, and that's what I try to do when I get on stage. And when I'm able to do that in some way to help somebody, and not just in a business side, not that that's not important, but on a personal side or a family side, to me, that just makes all the difference in the world.
That's amazing. When we're talking about changing careers, like it's really easy to imagine going from sports to another job. That's an easy one. But Sheila, something I didn't know about you until we were in the waiting room for this, you've actually changed. You've got quite a few different degrees in there, right? So that's what Scott said. Engineer? You're an engineer?
Yes.
What's that? And
yes,
so,
that's what I started as.
What?
That's why I started. I was really bad at it. So I thought, what do I do next? I'm just kidding.
Well, okay, so kind of talk us through that thought process. Like, I doubt you were really bad at it, but why did you feel like you needed a change? And then why go back to something that requires a lot of school again and all of that?
Well, as soon as I got out of engineering school, I was like, this is just not going to be my deal. Like, it's just, I was way too extroverted, way too you just know. We all kind of know what, or self. So then I got my MBA thinking, well, that's going to be the answer. I'll transition out of engineering, but that didn't really lead me where I wanted. And I had met some lawyers and they were doing really cool stuff. So I was like, I'm going to go back to law school. And that has been like such a huge blessing. I've loved every minute of it. It's been a great career path. And I think it's just one of those things. If you're unhappy, we're all in charge of our own lives. We have to, make a decision to do something different.
That's an awesome answer. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to switch over down here to you, Steve. So I imagine if you've moved that many times, you've probably had a few career changes, right? Did you become more adaptable, or do you think you were just adaptable to career changes from the beginning?
So a lot of the moves were actually with same organizations, but I think, the topic of moving in general is really interesting because I grew up, my parents were in the same home where we grew up until a little bit ago. They don't really travel. We went to the same place every year for vacation. So I didn't come from a family or like roots that we were on the road and going a bunch of places. So I moved right after college and it's been a crazy experience, but it's one of those, once you do it once, you find out that you either love it and are open to doing it again, or you're like, this is not my bag and I want to find and go back to, where it was that, was truly home for me. So I haven't had a ton of career changes, but as I approached 40, I basically told myself, now's the time. I've learned a lot. I've experienced quite a bit. I feel like I bring a lot of different value to different organizations. And now I'm going to take some chances. I'm going to take some chances on me, similar. Now, I don't have the academic pedigree that, Sheila does. But if you have any of those degrees that you don't display and they're just like in a drawer, like I'll take one and I'll probably.
I didn't display any of them.
Because I think that's super great. But I think it's that willingness to take that chance, right? And realize I don't love what this is right now, and I'm going to try something else, or I'm going to be willing to accept failure, which, Aaron, I see a lot of the things that you post and, how everything started with you. And I think you've got to take that risk. I'd rather have failed than a bunch of coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know what I mean? And regret not knowing what could have been. So here we go. We'll see where it goes.
That's where your entrepreneurial mindset is too, Sheila, I think, right? Because most people that went to engineering school wouldn't have just jumped. Like, that's why you're in the entrepreneur space.
Right.
Okay,
But I also didn't have a lot of, role models and people that did other things. So I kind of had to figure it out by making all these mistakes, like by staying in engineering school and taking an engineering job and not knowing what to do next. So it's definitely all part of the journey.
Right. Okay, we've got one last question. We'll just go from top. We'll go in this clockwise, this way, Scott. So we'll start with you again, Sheila. Scott says clockwise sometimes, and then we go counterclockwise, or we go up and down.
Backwards on here. I'm also dyslexic, so.
Way to make me feel bad. Okay. This is an awesome question, but I want everybody to answer it because I think that the audience can get a lot from this, and everybody's got 2.5 minutes tops. Ready? Okay. What's your best personal time commitment to recharge? Let's start with you, Sheila.
Hanging out, going out with friends, and sometimes yoga. But I am a super extroverted, so I get filled back up by doing fun things with friends.
How about you, Kendall?
Well, I threw a ball between my legs for a living, so this is not going to be normal, which is
What a great lead-in.
And juggle. So I've juggled center ring for Ringling Brothers, Barton Beverly Circus twice in my life, and I've competed nationally. And so I started juggling when I was in 8th grade, and so balls, clubs, rings, cats. No, not cats. Don't go Peter there.
Bowling balls,
fire. You name it. But I just like going into the gym and just juggling. And I keep balls on my counter in the kitchen. So when I come by, I normally juggle a little bit every day. I know I'm giving you a lot of talk here, but the gray matter in your brain, they've done studies, CAT scans, and your brain is more active, about 10% more active if you juggle on a regular basis. So I figure I need all the help I can get, but it's just something I love.
Can you do a demo?
I could go get that, I guess, here in a second.
So, well, once you got to give a teaser for Kendall. So when you work with him and your organization consults with them to do public speaking, it's not just business, it's not just the NFL, it's marriage, it's relationships, it's ups, it's downs, and world-class juggling, to name a few. So you got to do a couple teasers. You got to hire Kendall if you wanted to get the whole package. But Chase, for you, what do you do to recharge?
Hold on. It's not clockwise.
Scott just knew I'd have nothing after Kendall.
Trying to do the juggling job.
Whatever scraps I'm going to bring in the end and let Larson go last. That was kind of the game.
How about you, Steve?
The Larsons recharge traveling. Scott knows we love to be students of the world. So have passport, we'll travel. So anywhere and any culture and any new experience is just a great way to appreciate where you are and where you've been, and put yourself in the shoes other incredible people.
All right, Chase. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you, but I was just going in order. How about you? How do you recharge?
Yeah, so the two big ones for me are just some one-on-one time with my wife, date night, something like that, where we can actually communicate. We have three kids, 6, 4, and 1, and so that's a big one right now. And then the second thing is I try to get up at 3 times a week and get a workout in. Usually just 45 minutes, get a good sweat, and do that. Play some music that I enjoy listening to, that is uplifting and encouraging, and kind of gives you some energy for your day.
I like it. Hey, Scott, since we're going clockwise, why don't you answer the question last? How do you recharge?
I literally do everything backwards. So I apologize, Steve. But now that I thought about it, it probably made sense. But it's funny that Sheila said she recharges being around people. I actually recharge when I'm in a group of people of like 10, 24. And I know for a lot of people that is overwhelming, but for me, that's when I'm truly relaxed, is when I'm around a lot of people, which I've now realized is interestingly weird. Aaron, what do you do to recharge?
Same thing. I'm you and Sheila to a T. Right. A lot of people. It's definitely not. I've been waking up early, Chase, and I've been working out, and it is not recharging me. So I'm waiting for that day, but it's not just yet. All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming on. Remember, if you want to learn to network, learn how to connect with people at this level, all of that, make sure you check out learningtonetwork.com. We are so blessed and honored to have this incredible panel. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch the replay, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next week. We've got some awesome guests coming on next week, every single week. So if you want a sneak peek, text our number really quick, and we will tell you who's coming on before we post it. And it's really exciting. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next